Hey guys, again another upgrade for the 2021 Aprilia Tuono factory V4. So we have here the crash protector, you have the crash protector base, you have some kind of cover cap, right, for the branding, an extra set as well, and you have a smaller set of 4 spacers and then a longer set of spacers. You have effectively the engine mounting, right? So one set is longer than the other. So I'm assuming this is one for one side and another side. And the 2 bolts, which I'm assuming is connecting the crash protection to the crash protection base. And then you're having, of course, some spacer, like I'm assuming again, I'll look at the instructions here, but these are, I'm assuming for this. Let's go through it. It seems fairly simple, and yeah, let's jump right in. Alright, so just looking at the instructions, effectively needing a 13mm and a 17mm socket and wrench set, and then if you're having a torque wrench, this would be extremely helpful, as the 8mm hexagon drive socket will be used at 40 Newton meters. So on the right side, the thinner one towards the front, the shorter towards the rear, the teardrop, right? So the smaller side towards the rear, bigger side towards the front, and then you utilize both spacers stacked, and then use the bolts, and effectively the longer bolts go on the right side of the bike and the smaller set of bolts go on the left side of the bike. And then you use the bolt and washer and lock nut, you install it here, right, and that screws on to the base of the frame slider, and then you torque everything down. And I'll do the removal process of the engine bolts that are on the vehicle now. And for that, I would recommend doing it one at a time, that you don't take both engine bolts out at the time, because you want the engine to be supported accordingly, right? So like one, then do the other one, then do the other one, then do the other one, right? I saw other videos where people are taking 2 or 4 at a time out. Definitely not a good idea. Just one at a time, so that it's not doing, like, putting stress on the current hardware that's already on the vehicle and or the mount to the frame. Okay, now on the vehicle side, right? So I'm on the right side. These are the 13mm engine bolts. You take these out one at a time. So you put this one out, right? You take it out. Then you put the spacers, the two stock spacers from the kit. Then you put the base, again thin side facing the front. Then you put the longer engine bolts from the kit. Loosen it. Then you take this one out on this side. Then again you put the 2 stock spacers the same way. I would recommend the bigger one first, then the smaller spacer. Then you mount up the base. Then you put the engine bolt in, and then you torque these down. Then you assemble the puck in the middle, then torque it down. That's the assembly recommendation from my side. So this is the 8mm again. That's the hardware that comes with the kit, right? And the spacers, so I just did snug. And now I'm taking off the 13mm factory engine bolt and spacer, right? So taking that out. And then be careful, like what happened here. A little spacer came out, so I'm gonna fish that one out now, and then make sure that with the new kit, you're using both spacers again towards the rear, and then you tighten this one down. So here you're seeing the two spacers stacked. You still have the factory between the frame and the engine spacer, right? And then now we're going to assemble the puck side. 8mm hex, right? And you torque these down 40 millimeters each. Okay, once it's tight, then you assemble it, right? Again, wider towards the front, smaller towards the rear, right? Torque this one down to no maximum more than 40 Newton meters, and then put the cap on, right? All right, there it is. So I torqued this bolt down 40 Newton meters. Of course, as this was tightening down, just straightened it out, right? So you can eyeball it and then just put the cap on. So fairly easy. Repeat that process on the left side of the bike with the shorter engine bolts. And you can see here the fitment, right, to the frame. That's very nice. There's enough spacing with the fairing. So I was worried about this one with the new fairing, but everything is working well. So I'm quickly doing this now on the passenger side. Obviously, once you've done it already, it takes much quicker. And again, 40 millimeters, don't over torque it. Once it's set, it's set. What's super interesting is, just literally with all the tools out and ready, instructions, watching this video, you probably knock this out 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes max. So it's super simple, and I was able to do it. I didn't even use my stand. So very, very straightforward with these types of clarifications. But again, installation instructions regarding, stacking the spacers in the direction. It's just very unfortunate that it's not as clear, but the product looks great again. So again, right, you sandwich the external lock nut with the washer, right, put the puck facing the front, the wide side, and start it off. That's it. So on the passenger side, you could see, right, so you're effectively having same 40 millimeters, 40 Newton meters, and then 40 Newton meters, and then you just kind of, before you do the final torque, of course, eyeball it so it's straightened out, and of course the wider side facing the front, and then the teardrop towards the back of the bike. And again, great kind of spacing perspective and protection with the fairing. It's definitely sticking out more even in the 2021 fairing. So highly recommended modification protection for your bike, and yeah, I'm very happy with it. Again, just a kind of confusion regarding instructions. I think this is something that can be improved on. Hey guys, so another upgrade for the 2021 Aprilia Tuono V4 factory. I got some RhinoMoto bar end sliders and mounts. I really like these because they're actually weighted, and then you still have the crash protection. So I'm really excited to put these on. These are obviously very simple, right? You have the hex nut here, and you just take out the factory one, then you assemble this one on. So this should be fairly quick, maybe 5-10 minute install. So let's jump right in. So the factory bar ends are weighted, right? But they're of course not replaceable from a crash protection standpoint. So I'm using a 5mm hex, right? And just a ratchet. And it's a little bit on there, and I'll take these out. And don't drop your hardware. And that's the mount, by the way. So just make sure that pretty much drop quickly. Just hold it right as it comes out with your other hand. So now with the RhinoMoto ones, right, you can see again it's a two-piece design with the puck here and then the base. But what's super cool, I mean, it has all the hardware, and versus the factory, it's coming with lock nuts. The factory one doesn't have a spacer nor lock nut. So goes in like that, and you can start it, and that's the look, right? So definitely the fitment is good. So let me tighten this down and we'll do a comparison. Okay, it's kind of tight, and make sure there's no conflict with the throttle, right? Especially on the throttle side. And that looks really good, actually. Very, very good look. And you see again the two-piece design. And doing a quick comparison, you can see where the factory one kind of ends is where the base is of the RhinoMoto, and then the extra material where the crash protection is. So definitely not a big concern like paint splitting or whatever, but enough kind of protrusion, and still having a weighted handlebar, which I like because of course there's kind of vibrations at higher speed, the frequencies and so forth, that helps out a lot. And I'm doing the other side now just to show you the two-piece design. It's not screwed on right, but kind of loosened it by twisting it, and it pops out from the base. But you know, these are obviously replaceable, and yeah, I like that feature, weighted and then still having the replaceable section at the end. So I'll finish this off on the left side, and again, really quick, 5-10 minutes max. So one of the crash protectors actually comes with a sleeve, and that goes on the left side of the bike in order to cover the nut, right? So you put that one first, you loosen this up just a little bit, and then you slide it on like so. You know, it's not required, but of course you can have the RNG kind of facing right side up. And then you use a 4mm socket, right? The hex socket. Tighten it, and what's happening is the internal kind of mechanism, as you tighten it, expands against the inside bore. Again, just make sure it's flush, and then when you're ready, just tighten it, and that's good. And then I'm going to do the other side now. So on the right side, right, there's the sleeve, there's no sleeve, it's integral, right? That piece is integral to the unit, so just have the branding right side up, and then make sure it's flush, and tighten it accordingly. Make sure not to over tighten it, and strip the bolt. And that's it. Fairly easy, takes about 2 to 5 minutes, and that's in there. Let's do the fronts. Okay, on the front axle slider kit, yeah, I mean it's fairly simple, right? You're supposed to loosen the pinch bolts and then assemble it from, you know, the left side to the right side. Okay, so we can thank Aprilia for this one because they actually list 10 Newton meters right on the fork, so I don't have to look that up. It's great. So there's a nut, there's a spacer kind of holding the crash part, replacement part, and then there's a mounting conical side, obviously, you know, facing in. What's critical for this one is there is a right and left side. So the right side is having this kind of recess, and then the left side is having this kind of protrusion in, right? So effectively having this come together, and you know, it comes over the piece. So you'll need effectively two 13 millimeters, or if you have like a 1/2 inch, That's what I'm using on the other side. Close enough. And you know, you need definitely sockets, right, to get in here. It is offset. So just tighten it down, and you know, once it's tight, it's set there. There's locking nylon nuts there, so you should be good to go. Just balance it out if you want between left and right side, and then tighten it down. Again, it takes like 5-10 minutes. So, but you know, great product. Just make sure, you know, like I'm going to align this straight up. And here's the front RNG crash protection for the fork. Then you're seeing the middle frame protection from RNG. Rear protection from RNG. This one's on the Swingarm. Right, so as a kit, looks great. And I also have the RhinoMoto handlebar and weighted crash protection. So looks great as a package. I'll do like a kind of side shot here. Profile integrates very well. Right, nothing is sticking out like a sore thumb. Everything looks like it's made for it. Right, great premium integration. And if you want to see more content like this, and or you like the video, definitely thumbs up on the video, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks guys, have a good one.